This is News Channel 5 at 11. Local coverage you can count on.
Right now on the Treasure Coast, reaction after a murder arrest in the 19-year-old cold case of missing child Andrea Parsons.
And in Boca Raton, the manhunt goes on, and life on 2 college campuses gets back to normal after an armed intruder prompts campus lockdowns. 2
major stories tonight. We begin with Martin County's top lawman live right now to talk about the arrest in this case that haunts a community.
We have team coverage on the case of Andrea Parsons, a 10-year-old who disappeared in 1993, never to be seen again. The investigation has ranged from here all the way to Alabama. News Channel 5 anchor Kelly Dunn, leading the largest news team on the Treasure Coast, is live in Stewart. Kelly.
Michael and Shannon, what happened to Andrea Parsons? It's been a question that has remained a mystery for 19 years until today. This afternoon in the building behind me here at the Martin County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Robert Crowder announced the arrest of Chester Price, a 42-year-old man originally from Martin County, picked up in Alabama, but arrested today and charged with murder and kidnapping of the 10-year-old girl back in 1993. The sheriff is kind enough to join me tonight. I'm going to welcome in Sheriff Bob Crowder and talk about the keys to the arrest today, the keys to the success. Why today? Why is this case being solved today?
Why this particular day is not something we know. This is the day that all of the information we had taken to the grand jury resulted in a sealed indictment.
I say why today only because it's been the 19 years, and during that time, you've never discovered her body. How important is that to the case? Can this case be prosecuted without the location of her body?
Yes, it can. We've had other cases, homicide cases, where the body was never discovered, but we had sufficient evidence to prove that the crime had occurred and who had done it. This case has been heavy on our minds and our hearts for 19 years. And all of the investigators, all of the members of the Sheriff's Office are very elated that we finally made this much progress on this case.
I'm sure they are, as well as the community as well. Sheriff, will be talking to you more in just a couple of moments. I want to bring back in Shannon Cake back in the studio. Shannon, I was here back on July 11th, 1993, on the day that Andrea Parsons disappeared. I know you joined the news team 2 years later, but for those folks who are new to this area, this case has taken a lot of twists and turns over 19 years, and I know you're going to talk about that.
Absolutely. It was truly galvanized the community there, Kelly, as you were reporting. Andrea Parsons disappeared in what seemed to be a flash. There were no signs of her, and up until tonight, no strong clues as to what happened to her. It was a cold case, as detectives would find, but their work and the persistence by Andrea's mother to keep this case in the spotlight led to tonight's developments.
It was in a quiet little section of Port Salerno where Andrea Parsons was last seen. She was walking down this street to a grocery store on Salerno Road to buy candy. Heading home, she disappeared. Before retiring more than a year ago, Martin County Detective John Silvis could still clearly recall that day.
Several units responded to the area along with the Road Patrol. We had the FBI, we had people from FDLE, we had the Highway Patrol, we had canine units out there, we had air units out there. So it really was a massive initial investigation when the little girls turned up missing.
The massive search went for weeks with no sign of the 10-year-old. The years passed. Detectives kept looking. The case file grew big enough to fill several boxes.
Oh, my prayer is that someday we solve this case. Primarily that justice is done, but also for the mother.
There were false leads, like the time Claude Davis, a neighbor with a history of child molestation, confessed to disposing of her body in a dump after she hit her head in his van. Detectives searched through dumps for months, finding nothing. Davis recanted, saying it was all a dream.
We don't know where she is, if she's dead or alive. We don't know that. So the only avenue to take is the one just to keep looking.
Her mother, Linda, moved away, but she never stopped looking. She got national attention for her daughter's case when she submitted her story to a cable talk show devoted to finding missing people.
The most important thing is to get more leads for us to follow up on and hopefully It might bring her home, find out what happened to her.
But nothing came of it. The years moved on. The case turned colder. The pain never went away.
July 11th, 1993 seems like today. You know, it's not gotten easier and it's gotten more difficult.
Andrea Parsons would have been 29 years old today. I'm sending it back now to Kelly Dunn, live with Sheriff Robert Crowder tonight. Kelly?
Shannon, thank you. And certainly no one has suffered more than Linda Parsons over these past 19 years. Sheriff, I know you spoke to Andrea's mother today. Tell me her reaction to the arrest.
Well, we've been having dialogue with her for keeping her up to date on the investigation for a long time. So she was, I believe, expecting what we were telling her today. Her reaction, from what I could tell over the telephone, it was like she was glad to hear about it from us rather than to stumble on it in the news. And this is bringing her some closure, but it won't be full closure until we convict the perpetrators and perhaps find the body.
Very briefly, you're ending your 47-year law enforcement career at the end of December and retiring. Tell me how this makes you feel to have this be a case that is closed under your watch.
Well, it occurred under my watch, regrettably that it occurred at all. It would always be unfinished business if we did not bring this to some closure.
Well, congratulations to you and your deputies and detectives who have worked so hard to solve this case.
Especially the detectives and deputies who have worked so hard and done such a tremendous job. I'm very proud of them.
Sheriff Crowder, thank you very much for being with us. We'll have more coverage live here from the Martin County Sheriff's Office. Coming up, our Angela Cruz tracked down one of Andrea Parsons' old classmates. We'll hear what he had to say coming up a bit later in the broadcast. Now back to you, Shannon, in the studio.
Kelly, thanks. Now we're sending it over to Michael Williams with another big story we were following earlier today. Michael?
Thank you very much indeed. To our other top story right now, detectives looking for the man who robbed a Florida Atlantic University student at gunpoint on campus, prompting lockdowns at 3 schools. Dan Corcoran begins our team coverage on the story. He's live in Boca Raton. Dan?
Well, Michael, this campus is back up and running tonight after quite a day here. The search, though, continues for the man that investigators say forced a lockdown of this campus for several hours today. It was 1:10 p.m., right in the middle of final exams at Florida Atlantic University's Boca Raton campus, when investigators say a male student was in trouble.
Alleged robber was armed with a handgun.
FAU Campus Police Chief Charles Lowe says a male suspect entered the Arts and Letters building with a gun, forcing the alleged victim into a secluded room before drawing his weapon.
He produced a handgun, pointed it at the student's head, and then, proceeded to take several possessions from that student.
Moments later, the suspect took off, investigators say, and authorities jumped into action, searching for him and also notifying the rest of campus. In an instant, text messages, emails, even voicemails were sent out to students and staff at FAU and also to Palm Beach State College's Boca campus.
I got the text message like 5 minutes before my final, and my professor, he didn't stop it. We kept it. The class was calm.
The college campuses, along with A.D. Henderson Elementary and several Palm Beach County public schools, were all put on lockdown, quieted for hours.
Went building by building, floor by floor, and through all the parking lots.
And vehicles, too, one by one as they left the campus. Authorities tried to keep students updated until the all-clear was given at 3:57 p.m., nearly 3 hours after this incident began to unfold.
It makes me feel a lot safer knowing that they actually know what's going on and they haven't been leaving us in the dark.
Now, the suspect remains at large, described as a black male, approximately 5'10", with a muscular build, dressed in white pants and shirt and a ski mask at the time of this incident. Now, meanwhile, FAU officials were actually trying to work through some scheduling solutions because there was some disruptions to the final exam schedule today, but life is returning back to normal here on this campus. More on that, we'll bring in my colleague Evan Axelbank. Kevin?
Well, Dan, you're right, and one of the things that FAU officials had to deal with tonight, had to figure out, was whether to cancel tonight's basketball game here at the Owl's Nest. The game was scheduled for 7 o'clock. They didn't have to cancel the game because the lockout was lifted at 4 o'clock, and that gave everybody a chance to come here and exhale after a long day.
Blowing off steam,
the distraction of sports was crucial for Chelsea Hadrick.
Since the guy hasn't been captured yet, me and my friend walked over here, and we were still on our toes.
Campus collected itself around its basketball team tonight. After an afternoon of captivity in dorm rooms and classrooms, it felt good to root for the school that spent the day in the wrong kind of spotlight.
Today was just a weird day, and both of us were locked in our room for 4 hours, so it definitely just brings back a sense of normal to us.
Students tonight were clutching their cell phones. Nothing unusual, except today they got urgent messages on them from school administration, advising them that they were under code red and to stay inside. FAU's president was at the game as well and says tonight built trust.
We showed the alert system that we put into place is appropriate, that they got alerts on time, that they got updates on time, and that our concern was for their safety. And I feel very proud that we did that.
Students agree, saying that the incident, however uncertain and even scary, brought campus together.
We know they're going to do their best to get this guy or do whatever they can to solve this situation, so it's a really nice feeling.
FAU lost tonight's basketball game by about 10 points to the University of Southern Alabama, but everybody here tonight is glad that people on campus stayed safe. We're live tonight at FAU. Evan Axelbank, WPTV News Channel 5.
And we'll have all of the overnight developments on the search for that intruder, that armed intruder who prompted the lockdown. All that on Today at 5, beginning at 4:30 tomorrow morning. And don't forget, WPTV.com is always on. We continue to follow developing news out of the Treasure Coast. After the break, we'll take you back live to Squirt. A schoolmate of Andrea Parsons' reaction to tonight's break in this cold case.
Plus, the new developments tonight as the teenager accused of shooting a retired K-9 officer dead prepares to head to court.
Still tracking some showers on the radar tonight. The heaviest rain has moved off to the south, but still a few light showers around Jupiter and DeQuesta and into Martin County. Your full forecast into the weekend is coming up.
Thank you